Well, I signed up for the pack tour, but then I have a scheduling conflict, so I won't be able to do day one and day two with the tour group. As a result, B took me over to Everett and supported me on day one and two. So I ended up doing day one and two of pack tour on the hottest day ever recorded in this part of Washington State. These 2 days were brutal, and I'll give you a review of how it went. Day one is really fun. You leave Everett, you ride down to the ferry, catch the ferry over to Whidbey Island, and then it's just really a lovely ride in Whidbey Island. It's one of the most beautiful rides that I've ever been on. I think anybody that does this is just going to be thrilled with it. Really, really fun. Leave the hotel and it's just up and down until you get to the ferry terminal. So if you come the day before, it might be worth it just to test out your bike, ride down to the ferry, ride back. While you're down there, get a ticket. Here we are at the ferry terminal. It took me 35 minutes to get from the Best Western in Everett down to the ferry. It's right by the train tracks, as you can see, and there's the terminal. So if the cars are backed up, you can go around them and then pull to up to the left side of the toll booth and pay. At least I bought a ticket yesterday. I'm not so sure you really need to do that, but I bypassed all the cars, pulled up, and I'm in plenty of time to catch the 6 a.m. ferry. And the reason I'm here early is because it's brutally hot, and I'm trying to get as many miles in as early as I can. So again, 35 minutes from the hotel to the ferry terminal. So you walk up across the ferry and to the very front ahead of the cars, and you can see I parked my bike right here, kind of hanging over the railing, or there's this ropes you can tie it to. When you get off the ferry in Clinton, you can just ride off. I think you walk your bike off the ferry and then just start riding up the hill right away. There's a real steep climb here in Clinton. And the whole thing is up and down. So when you're riding across the island, you're either going up or you're going down. So that's, challenging. But for the first day, it's kind of what I expected with Pack Tour. They want to figure out where you're at. And it is a lovely ride, as I've said before. One thing I did is I stopped here and picked up a shell from the beach and taped it to the front of my bike. My idea is that I'm going to ride with this shell on the front of my bike all the way to New Hampshire, and when I get to New Hampshire, I'm going to throw that shell back into the ocean. So that's kind of exciting to know that I'm hauling something across the country and deposit it in its rightful place. Beautiful scenery and flowers along the way. It was just real pretty, and but you're going up and down. And this little out and back is where you go for lunch. I think you guys are going to end up getting lunch there if you're with Pack Tour. And parts of this are on a busy road, but hey, we're riding across the country, and you're going to end up riding on some busy roads. There was a shoulder, it was safe, but it was noisy. And then you hop on the 20 here, and a beautiful view over this waterway. And then you just go a little ways on the 20, and you kind of get off of it. And back roads, farm roads, all the way into Sedro, Woolley. And you go to the Three Rivers. Now, I got there too soon. Of course, they weren't ready to take us because the room wasn't ready, but it was 105. Day two, by any standard, is really hard. Sedro, Woolley to Winthrop. It's a lot of climbing, and it's 120 some miles, and it's almost 8,000 feet of climbing. Three Rivers Inn, leaving the Three Rivers Inn at 4:30 in the morning, trying to beat the heat. So we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be 2,000 degrees today. Anyway, gotta give it a whirl. You leave Sedro, Woolley, and you come out of the hotel and you just get on the 20. So it's pretty standard. You really don't make any turns all the way to Winthrop. It's easy to follow. Pretty flat along here, and it's pretty along this river, and you go through this little town of Concrete. There's a fellow there camping, a bike tourist, and so this is a very common road to ride. A lot of people ride it. It's part of the Transcontinental tour, and you'll see plenty of bicyclists. When you're going up the hill, you'll go through a little town called Marble Mount, and it will tell you that there's no places for the next 74 miles. So if you're self-supported and you're doing this stretch, you're going to want to get plenty of water at Marble Mount, because the day I did this, the high temperature was hot. It was over 117 degrees. And when you're climbing this hill, this mountain, it is long, it is slow, it is steep, and it was really hot the day I did it. And I actually ran out of water, and I had to ask some passing tourists to help me out because I got myself in trouble. But once you get to the pass, it's really cool up there. Beautiful views. You're riding in the snow, even in the middle of the summertime. But the descent is steep at this first part, but surprisingly enough, once you get down to about here, the last 15 miles into Winthrop, you're going to have to pedal. You're going to have to work at it to get to Winthrop. But it's really something, this 125 miles, 7,300 feet of climbing. And, it's took me about 12 hours of actual riding time to do it. But as you can see, the temperatures were really hot. According to my Garmin, the high was 117 when I got in, and the last 3 or 4 hours or so, it was well over 100. So this was hard. I'm glad I did heat training. I don't expect it to be like that all the time, and it was a record heat wave. Anyway, that's day 1 and 2 of my pack tour adventure. I'm looking forward to riding the rest of this with the group. See you down the road. Keep spinning.